Did you know that the Better Business Bureau gets around 13,000 complaints a year on moving companies? Yeah, there's some real horror stories out there.
So today we're going to do just that. We're going to talk about how to find a good moving company, how not to get scammed, and we'll throw in a few good horror stories just to keep it entertaining. But first I got to pack up this box of antique plates for my sister-in-law, so let me get rid of this box and then we'll get started. Hey there, I'm palmbeachespaul, your original South Florida YouTube realtor. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm coming to you from Boynton Beach, and I'm over in the Renaissance Common area. As you look around, it's kind of nice, scenic little walk. A lot of these are apartment communities that you can rent, but then there's also some condos and townhomes that you can buy, and it's right here in the center of Boynton Beach. Thought it'd be a good place to come out and talk to you guys about moving. So I picked this spot because it's a Saturday and I knew I would see some people moving, and I did. As you saw here, there's a couple people moving here. There's another rental moving truck there, and I saw some across the street. So it's Saturday and that's when people typically move. But I thought this would be a really good video to make and talk to you all about, because, you know, before you even start searching for the home, you need to start considering the expense of moving. It can be quite expensive, and there are a lot of options. Do you move it yourself? Do you get your friends and offer them pizza and whatever? Do you call a professional moving company and have them do it? Do you do one of those pods? There's a lot of different options, and we'll kind of talk about some of the pros and cons, and we'll touch a little bit on the cost. But you know, you're moving to South Florida, and I wanted to do this because I have customers who are dealing with this right now. They're coming from North Carolina, they're moving here to South Florida, and they are just blown away at the cost and really how difficult it is to find a good moving company to help them get all their household items from North Carolina down here to South Florida. The Department of Transportation's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Say that 3 times fast. They track complaints for scams, for moving companies, things that happen. And in 2023, they expected the number to go up 35%. Now, this is some information I found on the internet, so obviously that's a little bit older as we're in 2024, but it's gone up every year since going back to 2015. So the number of complaints has continuously gone up, and as I said at the beginning of this video, the Better Business Bureau gets about 13,000 complaints a year. So moving can really suck. You really have to do your homework and think about what you're going to do and who you're going to call, what's best for you. Again, you know, everyone's budget's a little bit different, so what you can afford will obviously make a difference on how you go about moving. So you just want to be careful when you're going to be moving, and you want to do a lot of homework, a lot of research ahead of time. Don't wait to the last minute. So let's talk about what it should cost. And these prices are for a typical 2 to 3 bedroom house between 800 to 1,300 square feet. And they don't include taxes or insurance. And there's obviously probably other fees, the time of the year, when you're moving, all those things. But they're just a general idea of what it might cost you to hire a mover, do it yourself with like one of the major moving rental companies, or using one of the boxes that you can pack yourself, and then the box gets shipped to your house. And for these numbers in this example, we're gonna use Los Angeles to Miami, right? You're gonna move from the cold water to the warm beaches of South Beach. So we'll use that as an example of what it might cost for these 3 different types of moving options. And just so you know how far that is, it's 2,730 miles from somewhere in Miami to somewhere in Los Angeles, or vice versa. So, all right, so let's talk about pods. By the way, I'm not being paid by any of these companies. I'm not endorsed by any of these companies. So this is just my general opinion. Take it for what it's worth. I'm not being commissioned by any of these companies. So, all right. So for pods to move a 2 to 3 bedroom house, or for you to use a pod system and move it from Los Angeles to Miami, the cost for that will typically run you around $4,000 to $5,700. So give or take, right? And remember, there's no taxes or insurance in that, or any other fees that you might get hit with. So that's using the pods, which, if you're not familiar with pods, it's a company. They have basically a storage unit, a box that gets delivered to your house. You load it yourself, or you can spend more money and have someone load it for you. And then they'll pick it up, they'll ship it to where you're moving, to your new house, and it will be sitting there in your driveway or somewhere on your property, waiting for you to come unload it and move everything into your house, and then they'll come pick it up. So a pretty convenient way to move your stuff, where you're doing all the boxing and packing yourself. They're handling the heavy part, moving it across country, and then placing the pod in your driveway and waiting for your arrival to come unload it, and then they'll take it away. So, pretty convenient way of moving. A little less, expensive, maybe a lot less expensive than hiring professional movers to do it for you. And you know that you put your stuff there, and when you get to the place, hopefully everything is still there in your pod waiting for you. So that's one option. The next option would be the professional movers. Let's see what that costs. All right, so professional movers, let's talk about what it might cost you. And again, guys, please keep in mind that there's a lot of options and extra fees and everything from, I'm sure, extra padding to the blankets to who knows. I mean, there's a lot that you need to look at when you're hiring a professional moving company to move. The insurance, the location, what day, how many days, to move, just all sorts of things. There's just a lot. There's a lot of things that you really want to look into, and we'll go over some of those in a little bit and some of the things to watch out for. But the cost for hiring I'm trying to find the sidewalk here, a professional moving company to move you can vary between $3,000 to $8,000, and that sounds a little low from some of the quotes that my customer was getting to move from North Carolina. So things like, do you box it or does the moving company box it? Those are things that you need to consider, because they may give you a quote, but you have to still box everything and have it ready for them to move. So again, there's going to be a lot of options with that. I'll try to cover as much as I can with the information I found, but that's obviously the most expensive way. And of course, you have to do your due diligence just like you would with hiring a realtor. You want to make sure you're hiring a reputable company, and we will talk about some of the horror stories that people have experienced and some of the scams out there. But that's, a full service should be full service, right? They're going to take your stuff, they're going to securely and safely move it from one spot to the next spot without breaking your items. And then you'll get there, they'll unload it and put it in your house, and then, again, either you unbox it or you pay them to unbox it. So that is full service. And again, that's going to be the most expensive, but for some people, that's the only option. They just don't want to deal with the headaches of moving, because let's face it, moving sucks. No one likes moving. All right, the buddy system move, the renting of a U-Haul or Penske or one of the major companies out there that you can go and rent a truck from. That will typically run you from $1,900 to about $4,100 for this trip from Los Angeles to Miami. Now, keep in mind, again, with that, there's lots of extras as well. The insurance, the fuel cost, pads, bubble wrap, all the extra stuff that you're gonna have to spend money on. This price is probably just giving you an estimate of what it costs to rent the truck to drive it from point A to point B, and definitely doesn't include all those extras. So it can be done, but again, it all depends on what you're comfortable doing and how much sweat equity you want to put into it, because it's definitely not easy, and you're loading and unloading everything, and then you have to drive this vehicle. And don't forget, if you have a car and you need to tow that car, then you're gonna have to get a tow hitch. That's gonna cost extra. You gotta tow your car all the way to where you're going. So definitely some extras that you need to consider thinking about. So that's 3 options for moving, right? A pod, professional movers, or the beer buddy pizza. Every time I moved, I would say, hey, I'll buy beer and pizza and you guys help me move. Of course, we didn't have a lot to move back then. How much furniture did I have in my 20s? Hardly anything. But there's some options to consider, and with all of those options, each of them has different costs associated with it, and you would just have to do your own research. But if you are going to go the route of hiring a company to move everything for you, a professional mover, then you really need to be wary, and you really need to do your homework. So let's talk about some of the scams, some of the ways that you can get ripped off that other people have, and why there's just such a stigma about moving companies in general and why it's one of the worst parts about buying and selling a home, the part where you have to move. And we'll talk about some of those. So let's go find another spot and we'll discuss that. By the way, if you guys like these kind of videos where I'm educating you about things like the condo crisis and like this, moving and helping you avoid getting scammed, please be sure to click the subscribe button, click the like button, because that helps the algorithm, helps me get more viewers. And click the little bell so you get notified when I make a new video, because I'm trying to bring you videos like this once a week. And if you want to support me, like my viewer did from Wisconsin, which was great, you can go to the link down here called Buy Me a Beer, and I'll put the link down below. It's just a way for you to support the channel, helps me continue to make these videos and support me while I'm doing this, and helps me buy extra equipment and stuff like that, and maybe even just buy me a beer because you like me. All right, back to the video. So here's the old high school that they renovated, and I just met two of the nicest ladies, one from up north, one who lives up in Jupiter. They asked me to take their picture for them, and my wife trained me well, so I did. And they also took my business card, so might have potential clients in the future, but they were super sweet. But I told them what I was videoing about moving, and the one lady said she had a horror story when she moved from, I think, Georgia and somewhere, and then she made a good point. You don't check your boxes right away, right? You're moving, you're trying to get adjusted. And she said stuff was missing. So, I couldn't have timed that any better, but she just told me that that happened to her when she moved. So you got to watch out. There's a lot of scams. And so I'm going to go sit over here where I can sit down and talk to you guys, and we'll go over some of the things that you should watch out for. Before we start talking about some of the things that you need to watch out for, I want to give you a website that you can go to. So it's the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. I'll put a link down below, but basically, if you've had any issues with a moving company or you want to check out a potential moving company, they have a database, and you can go there and do a little bit of research and find out if the company's reputable, and basically do your homework to make sure that you're going to hire someone that's not going to rip you off when it comes to moving your house for you. So, and again, the link will be down below, so you guys can click on it and go check it out yourself. So here are 5 tips that they recommend you should do if you are going to hire a mover. First, get a written estimate. 2, make sure the company is authorized to move your household goods and they're insured. That's an important one. Check the mover's complaint history in the FMCSA database. That's the link I just told you. Check their history to make sure there's not a lot of complaints against them. Remember your priorities when choosing a mover, what's important to you, and do your homework, which this video is about, right? Doing your homework. Make sure you check them out, look at the cost, the pros and cons, and all that good stuff. But here's a couple of the things so doing some research and some of the scams and things that are a red flag when you're hiring a mover. All right, so number 1 seems pretty obvious. Requiring cash payments or a large deposit. Now, some moving companies probably will require some type of deposit, and that's normal. But if it's all cash, they're not willing to work with a credit card of any kind, or they're asking for all the money up front, that might be a red flag to be like, are you going to hand this person all your money before they even perform the service? I know I wouldn't. So that is definitely something that you'll want to look at. Now, a lot of them will require a deposit when booking to move, and that's normal, but not all the money up front, and they should allow you to use a credit card. You should always get the estimate, if you can, in person. Like, have them come to your house so they can actually see what they're moving, have them see the furniture, all that's going to be moved, any special, personal items that you're really, antique items, something valuable that you're very concerned about. Just have them come there and give you that estimate, because giving an estimate over the phone to move you, especially across the country, doesn't sound really legitimate to me. I wouldn't trust it. So, find someone that can come to your house and give you an estimate in person. I don't know, maybe you can do a Zoom call if that's an option, but even that I would be a little fishy of. I'd rather have them come to my house and give me the estimate. And any reputable company should have someone in your area that can come there and give you a quote in person. So don't do any online or over the phone stuff. Make them come to your house and give you an estimate so you know who you're dealing with. All right, number 3, offering a quote that is super low. Like, just getting a ridiculous quote. Even my clients that I told you about earlier in the video who are looking to move from North Carolina, they got quotes of like $2,000, and they knew that was wrong. There's just no way. There's a catch. And the catch is, you may get a super low quote, and then what happens is when they move and they get to your destination, and this has happened, they hold your stuff hostage. They'll be like, oh, this fee, there's this fee, you got to pay this, and it could be thousands of dollars that you have to pay to get your stuff, or they won't release it from the truck. And what they'll do is they'll say that they didn't know it was going to take as long, or they didn't know that you had this much stuff, and they'll demand more money. So again, going back to that estimate in writing, get a contract and tell them, hey, here's everything you're moving from this point to that point. I want to know exactly the bottom line dollar, and I don't want to pay a penny extra for any reason when it gets delivered to my destination. So another red flag is if they're not licensed. That is a big one. Would you want to do business with someone who's not licensed? So the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration is kind of like the health department for moving companies. And you can check and find out if any of the companies that you're looking to hire are licensed with them, licensed with the Department of Transportation. So you can do it a couple ways. One is to get their US DOT, that's the United States Department of Transportation number, which should be on their website. And if you don't see it, you should ask them for it, and they should provide it. And if they hesitate, that should be a red flag. Another way is by going to the website that I just told you about, the Federal Carrier Administration website, and you can do a little research on that and see if the company is licensed to move people. All right, and the last warning or red flag would be if they don't have any reviews online. I mean, come on. In today's day and age, everybody has reviews. Hell, I got reviews. You want to see if I'm a good realtor? Go to Google. Look at my Google profile and see what people have said about me. Everyone has reviews, restaurants, doctors, car repair shops, everyone. So if you're dealing with a mover and they have nothing but bad reviews, that's obviously common sense, duh. But if they have no reviews, yeah, I find that highly unlikely that they don't have any reviews, because anyone who cares about their business gets reviews, right? They want people to know that, hey, I'm a good business person. I have a good standing in the community. You want to do business with me. And they want to brag about that. They want people to know that, so other people feel confident and feel secure in hiring them to do whatever it is that they're hiring someone to do. So that would be one I'd definitely watch out for. If they don't have any reviews or nothing but bad reviews, I would run. And please remember, I am a local realtor, so if you're new to this channel and you didn't realize it, I am a local real estate agent here in South Florida, so I can help you guys with buying and selling, and help you kind of guide your way through some of these headaches that I've been talking about in my videos, whether it's the condos or the movers, or looking for people. I do have a list of preferred vendors that I could refer you to, who I've worked with in the past, who are good people. So just wanted to share that in case you're looking for someone. Feel free to reach out to me and I can put you in touch with vendors of all types that might be able to help you here in South Florida. Look how cool this is. Look at this big tree behind me with these Chinese lanterns hanging in it. That is really neat. I bet it looks really pretty at night. All right, so what do y'all think? Do you trust movers? Are you gonna hire a mover? Are you gonna do it yourself? You gonna do the beer and pizza system where you pay your buddies to help you move? Well, whatever you do, make sure you do your homework, do your due diligence. There's a lot of honest companies out there. If you reach out to me, I can put you in touch with some good movers here in the South Florida area. And as always, whenever you're out, whatever you're doing, get out and enjoy paradise. I'll talk to you next week.